Welcome back. All right, we're just breezing through the first hour of a Woman Wednesday edition of Liquid Lunch. My usual contributor on Wednesday, Xen Sams, joins me right now. She has a special guest with her, Shahal Khan. He's a global investor. He's into geopolitics, entrepreneur. But we're talking about the case of an American woman, citizen here in the U.S., lives in Texas, or comes from Texas, Cynthia Ricci. She went over to Pakistan. She started, learning the culture, visiting the country, blogging about it, doing a travel blog, and then she stayed there and was consulting some of the highest levels of government on social media and communications, and she was raped by the deputy prime minister. And this was only a few weeks after U.S. intelligence and Pakistan intelligence got together, and the Pakistanis gave up bin Laden's lair, and we went in and took him out. And right after that, this happens. And Zen, I don't think the U.S. State Department wanted to piss off the Pakistanis with a rape allegation right after they gave us bin Laden.
Correct, John. Thank you for bringing that up. Shahal Khan and I were talking about this last night. Now, let's remember the Kerry Lugar Bill of 2009. All right, this bill authorized the release of 1.5 billion per year to the government of Pakistan as non-military aid from the period of 2010 to 2014. Mr. President Donald Trump would definitely want to have an audit of who the actual beneficiaries of those funds were leading up to the event of May 1st, or should I say, when Osama bin Laden was tactically taken out. Right? Pakistan's PPP party were in desperate need of a cash infusion. Zardari was president at the time. So one of the possible reasons her rape was covered up was because her rape was tied to the same political party, PPP, that was accepting money from State Department and Obama-Biden administration for ineffective NGOs, of which she saw many pretending to create many women and children-friendly spaces, which was all BS. And she was a reported, a journalistic, investigative journalist as well. So due to her investigations as a blogger in the political space, she soon realized the corruption behind the PPP party. And the Dems were funding this charade, and the funding ensured PPP government would throw their own country under the bus when Obama, Biden, Clinton asked. That's the bottom line. So,
Shahal, from what I understand, the conversations we had when I was kind of checking in on this story with you and Zen, that the movement for women's rights and Cynthia coming out and speaking about this is actually trickling across the border into India. Is that so?
Well, I think, well, first of all, to just correct one thing, she was raped by the interior minister because I mean, a lot of people are going to be watching the show in Pakistan, so I don't want that to deflect from, basically the reality, because people, will just, I think, create things just in order to dilute the message. The message here is very important. The women and children of that entire region, there's 1.5 billion women, children, population, men, but a large part of that are women and children in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, going into the Middle East. They don't have representation. They don't have the same capabilities and rights as men. And this is a woman that didn't leave after she was raped, stayed there for many years, just going on and working and trying to get out these stories, and been beaten down considerably. So she's going to help, I think, not only the women in Pakistan would definitely need help. There's so many of them that are constantly raped, and also from very good families. It's not just the poor people, but they're ashamed. They can't speak up. And now she's become, in my mind, a mouthpiece for them. And she needs the justice. She needs somebody to stand up and finally get her justice. At least get to the court, for God's sake. It'll inspire all the people in that region, the 1.5 billion population in that region, I think.
From what I understood in Pakistan, and I'm kind of, a wonk with like cryptocurrency and blockchain and stuff like that. And I'm wondering, I think I heard some number that there are more people with cell phones in Pakistan than actual bank accounts.
It's true. Absolutely. That's one of my initiatives of investment is through digital currency to help the poor. But, you're right. There's such a massive amount of people there that don't have access to education, banking, especially the women. The women do not have capability at times to go and work. So, I mean, we need the women's rights, to start from the top, from something like what Cynthia's doing, down to the bottom to have economic inclusion. And this is a way for Cynthia, I think, to start that movement.
Shahal, I noticed something when you were talking. You have one of your fingernails painted, and I wanted to highlight something that's incredibly honorable. This October, men all over the country are coming together to say no more to child violence and end the suffering. Children stay strong in silence every day, and there's truly nothing tougher than painting a single fingernail for them. And I think that there's men all over the world that are doing this in unification and solidarity. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about the Polished Man campaign?
Yeah, so the Polished Man campaign is for us as men to stand up for the women and children that have been abused. There are over a total of 1 billion women and children that have been abused at a certain point in their lives. And for us now to stand up for them and seek justice and right for them and say that this can't go on anymore. We can't abuse our women and children. The women are the mothers that will lead our children to the future, and we need to protect them, and we need to make sure the people that do abuse them are served justice.
Beautiful. And you're an advocate of the United States, and you are encouraging Pakistani government to start talking with the current administration to really open up the resources that Pakistan has that we're not even aware of this. I'd love if you could shed some light on this, because it ties into the bigger picture between Pakistan and the U.S. and the current deals that we have in place.
Yeah, Pakistan has over $1 trillion with the rare earth minerals and gold and copper, which is what we as the United States need today, because China controls 94% of that in the world. I really believe that the next world war could happen in Central Asia. We're already seeing it start in Armenia and Azerbaijan. And, you've got Russia in there going in. You've got them supporting the Iranians. You've got the Chinese creating issues in Afghanistan. We as the United States right now need to work with Pakistan as a rule of law and rule of justice. We can't have autocracies and these kind of governments going into Pakistan. We need to, form a bridge of cooperation, which includes justice and economic bridges with Pakistan, to help the current administration, which I believe wants fairness, wants justice, and is not corrupt, and ask the current administration, through our administration here now, to help that happen, because
Shahal,
that's important.
We're out of time right here. Can you guys stay with me for 5 more minutes, and we'll figure out what we can do to get something happening here?
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side of the hour to kick off hour 2 right after this. You're watching Liquid Lunch. Do not go anywhere. We're going to find out what we can do and what it means if I paint all my nails. We'll take a quick break. Come back after this.